All right, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, I think, November 6th, and we're going to talk about what happens when, or what would we do if this happens, or XYZ happens. I think it's good to think about scenarios because sooner or later, lots of those scenarios happen to all of us. First off, though, I'm open to any Q&A or discussion anybody wants to do. If you guys have anything, I kind of miss having the open Q&A and discussion that we used to have more often. Yeah, no tiara, Julie, no tiara. I have some because I sell them, but no.
I do have a question. So
Yes.
I've been looking at trying to increase multiple sales. One
Mhm.
person buys something, have them buy something else. So I was looking at um how to do that, and I thought I had found it, and I put it on all of my listings, but it actually ended up being talking about buying more than one item of the same thing. And that's where you can do your bulk editing. So I'm not quite sure. Then I went to adding it as a sale and I couldn't get it to work. So does anybody have any idea of how to do,
Yes.
like, if you buy two, you get 5% off. If you buy three, 10, and four is 15,
So
something
I
like
think you have to use the volume sale or the volume coupon or whatever it is. The
volume
volume,
coupon.
yeah, you have to use that. But if you're talking about when you get into the combining shipping part, which will be next, if you start having multiple item sales, you're gonna have people wanting um that you have to make sure in your business policies that you change it to where you click that box that says allow promotional shipping.
Okay. I think mine.
Otherwise, it won't do it. And I think that took me way too long to figure out. Like I could not figure out how come I was offering the combined shipping and it wasn't combining, and that was why.
Okay, I think my box is checked, but for some reason I could not get that sale to work from my store. I got stuck on the part where it said you can choose the items or have eBay choose. And when I went to choose, it said I had nothing there to choose from. So it wasn't connecting to my store for some reason.
Yeah, there's one box above that that you have to choose all inventory or a
Okay.
category. Hmm. They
Yeah.
don't make that one super simple. It's kind of ridiculous.
Okay.
Um, yeah, anybody else before I throw a few questions? Yeah, I want to also, since this is kind of our main group in here, um I would like to think of something fun to do if we hit 1,000 members that I have zero ideas and I'm trying. So if you guys want to brainstorm with me, something I can do on Facebook, something we can, I don't know. I really don't know. So if you guys think of something that I can do for that, hopefully we will need that. Hopefully it
Not
gets
if,
harder and harder. Hmm?
not if, when.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It gets harder and harder the more you pull in, it gets slower a little bit, but I'm working on it. So what happens when you're running short of inventory? Yes, or getting close to being in trouble for late shipments. Well, Larry, why don't you tell us what happens when you get close to being in trouble for late shipments? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I just came out of that situation last month. What was going on was I was relying very heavily on the Dropbox at USPS, and it turns out the Dropbox, well, that poses two problems. One, USPS tends to be late. I mean, 5%, 10% of my shipments generally are late through USPS. The other problem is, given that at least my post office does not scan anything unless you put it in their face, what you end up with is a is a late delivery that has never been scanned, or maybe it got scanned as they're delivering it or whatever. So you get the ding. And it turns out you won't get the ding if you get it scanned on time.
That's
It's
correct.
not enough to print it. You have to have it scanned.
And the scan sheets don't count, and the self kiosk does not count.
So there's two things that I started doing. One is I rely more heavily on UPS because I looked at all my numbers for like a 3 month period, and UPS was late on only a handful, a very small percentage relative to USPS. UPS also scans everything. I mean, you set it on the floor in a
Hmm.
pile,
They do.
it's going to get scanned that day. Um, and you don't even have to wait in line. They generally, mine at least has a corner where if you don't want to stand in line, it's got a label. You just put it in the corner and they'll scan it and ship it on. The other thing I do is when I do have those $4.99 small little items going USPS ground, I'll stand in line. And I've heard of people giving pushback on that. I've never had any pushback. I'll show up
I
with,
think it's post office to post office.
yeah. So that's kind of how I dealt with that. And my late shipments have dropped way down since I started doing that. I'm out of jail. I'm back to top rated.
And what happens when you have too many, Larry? What do they do
You
to
end
you?
up dropping, you lose top rated.
And don't you have to pay a fee too?
I don't know about a fee. I'm not sure, but I ran the numbers. It looked like it was about $125 to $150 a month,
Mm-hmm.
given my flow and the dollars flowing through my business, that cost me.
I
About
think they
100.
do charge you a fee, but I can't remember what it is, or I read it last month, or when you were going through that, I looked through it.
You don't
Yeah.
get, what is it, 10%?
Off your final value fee.
Final value fee, yeah.
Right. And that's what I used to determine what it ended up truly costing me.
Returns, they charge you 6%. Yeah, I think you're right, Russell. Yeah, they charge you like 6% if you're in the very high category. Laura, you don't have any shipping policies in place? Well, no problem. You're in the right place here. This can be one of our, what do you do? What do you do if you start eBay and you don't know how to set shipping policies? So the good news is, Laura, there's people that have been selling on eBay for like over a year and they still don't have their shipping policies right or in place. So it's a pretty common thing. It's nothing to be, so what kind of stuff do you usually ship, Laura?
I'm sorry, I'm new at
Oh,
this.
you're fine.
I think I had to type
I'm not new at
everything.
this and I still do that sometimes. So
I think I have to type everything. So here I am starting to type. I am all over the board. I mean, I had things from clothes. I've been on eBay for a long time and I sell here and there. But I have not like came down to a niche yet. But so it's all over the place. I sell clothes in a poly bag. I sell glass that's packed, and I have a hard time with shipping to guesstimating, and I put on the scales how much packing I use. So I'm kind of new to all that, but no, I do not have a policy.
you're probably doing calculated shipping right now, probably, where
Yeah,
eBay
that's
calculates it for you based on your measurements and your weight.
yeah, but I don't know I use all different kind of boxes from all different places. So it's kind of hard because I don't know if at that moment I'm gonna have that size box and I don't want to like set a box aside and put a label on it because then that's too many boxes.
Right.
So, you know,
Well, let's ask Larry. Larry is a everything shipper master. So let's ask him, what would you do if you were new and you were starting out with her like
Yeah,
her?
so the real trick for me is having experience, which you currently don't have, I guess, or whatever, as far as being able to estimate what do you think this thing's going to cost. In general, if it's less than a cubic foot, right, a 12 by 12 by 12, and it's under, say, 4 or 5 pounds, I have a policy for I call it standard shipping. It doesn't pick for me which provider, so I get to choose USPS or UPS or whatever, and I charge $12.99. And probably 70% of the stuff I sell is that particular one. $12.99. It doesn't matter what the dimensions are because I'm going to correct it later. Right. And I'll put in 12. I'll make a best guess on what I think the dimensions are going to be, but I have a number of policies that basically increment by around $4 a piece, right? I have a $4.99 USPS for jewelry kind of stuff. I have a $9.99 for other things. I have $12.99. I have $15.99. I have $19.99. And I'll just make an educated guess on what I think this is going to be. And in general, almost all of the stuff that I ship that's in a cubic foot and smaller, below 3 pounds, costs me around $8 to $11, and I charge $12.99. In general, I'm always making 50 cents to a couple of bucks on shipping. Now, that doesn't work in a really competitive market, in a really competitive kind of niche, But for the weird off the wall stuff, people don't really realize that you're making an extra couple bucks. But
Mhm.
anyway, that's kind of how I do things. It just takes practice. And if you screw it up, and this happens to me, 10% of the time, 20% of the time, I only charge $12.99 for shipping, and it cost me $16. Well, shoot, I lose four. Well, I didn't really lose four because I'm making, 25 on the item. So
Mhm. Yep, I agree. And just watch if you start getting a lot of shipping adjustments coming through, that's when you got to worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it until then. You'll get the hang of it. But like Larry said, you got to have the experience first. And then I do recommend flat rate shipping. Um, but you got to get used to it first.
Thanks so much, guys.
Larry had a good one too. Yeah, go ahead.
It looks like the only thing for late shipment, Larry, is you will lose top rated. There's no additional penalties. But you can go to, was it below standard if you do too many of them?
yeah,
That's when you're gonna start getting traffic throttled and all that happy stuff that they don't really tell you, but we all know it works. It happens.
yeah,
The only monetary you lose is any discounts you get from being top rated or top rated plus.
which is approximately 6 to 8% of your fees, something like that.
Maybe
10% of
And
yeah, it's 10% of your actual your seller fees, your base seller fees.
right, and so run those numbers. The other piece to that, Russell, you mentioned below standard or whatever. I really appreciate where Carrie has us looking at the numbers once a week.
Yeah.
That's a really good habit to get in. Had I been doing that more diligently, I probably could have avoided that 150 getting in jail, so to speak, or losing my top rating by fixing that problem earlier.
But I don't know if any of you guys have ever done it because it's happened to me. I like that we do it once a week too, because sometimes you open up those windows and you're like, what? It's like, I didn't know that was going on. And then we can take care of it because, sometimes we get busy and all of a sudden a month's gone by. And if we haven't checked, like, then you're like, and you do have a little bit better, I feel like we have a little bit better, like, especially with feedback and stuff, ground to stand on if we address things quick, sooner than later. So yeah, it just is what it is. And I feel like sometimes we get traffic issues, even with returns that are like for, found a better fit or whatever. I know they say you don't because it's not an issue, but every time I had it returned yesterday for a guy that just it didn't fit, no big deal. But I swear it like killed my day. Maybe that was in my head. I don't know. I only had like 12 to ship this morning. And like, so I'm having one of those days where I'm like, I bet my mailman's gonna be like, oh, she's a loser today. But I feel like my mailman judges me like that. Like, don't have it. She didn't sell anything yesterday.
You're too
Meg said,
you're too critical.
I'm a glass half empty kind of girl.
Yeah.
Laura says Meg says, Laura, as you make listings, you can measure and weigh each listing and plug that into Pirate Ship, pretending like you're gonna buy a label to get price estimates to start learning what costs what. Yeah, that's a great idea too. Yep. It's a fantastic idea.
That's what I did to set up my shipping policies because I'm in Delaware, so I'm all the way on the East Coast. So to ship something all the way to the West Coast, it's going to cost more than shipping it to, like even just Florida is cheaper than shipping it to like California. So that's how I started. That's one of the tools I use to set my shipping policies.
And if you're available after the call here for the work group call after this, I can help and dive into that and we can go through that exercise. And then Devin has his hand up.
Oh, I scrolled down. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it. I scrolled down, Devin. Thanks, Russell. Devin?
Kind of going what we're talking about with Larry, when they do throttle you, is that evaluated on a monthly or quarterly basis?
Depends on how many items you're selling. You have to sell 400 items.
Okay, so for me, on a monthly basis, then if that was to happen,
It's the
when it
20th, 20th of the month.
Mm-hmm.
so when it comes to when we're talking about percentages here, or numbers, how I guess I've been afraid to ask. How is the promoted listings percentage calculated? Is it based upon the total sale, or is it 10% on top of
Sale
the
and shipping?
the entire I guess, okay, well, explain to me, please.
It's everything,
Minus
sales and
tax,
shipping.
right?
So if it's 12.5%, you're doing 5, so it's 17.5%, or they do 5% on top added to the
It's on
12% they're
top
already
of your,
doing.
it's on top of your base seller fee, which most base seller fees are what you like 11 to 13 or 14%, depending on what category you're in. And then, so that's on top of that.
What I'm saying is if my base fee is 12.5%,
Hmm.
do they add the 5% there and make it 17.5? Or they do the 5% after that's calculated? In other words, that's going to be two different fees, you know? Or
Yeah, it's
there's two
on the
different figures.
total. It's not on like your net total. It's on the gross total. It's the overall amount, not the overall amount minus seller fees.
Carrie, you
No, no,
can talk about
no,
mine if
that's
you
not what I'm
want.
saying.
Help me out, Russell. Am I being thick?
No, I was saying, Carrie, you can talk about mine because you found mine was ridiculous, like 21% or something. I had to back it off down to 10, which has slowed my sales for a while until they regroup. But Carrie found a huge cost on my part, and we had to back it down.
What are you referring to, Devin? Are you referring to,
What I'm saying is, okay, I understand that it's on the overall thing. What I'm saying is, okay, it's like when you offer a coupon, you know, is okay, is it 10% off the entire amount, or is it 10% off the discount? Because those are two different totals.
all right, so if you got an item on your pay on your store and it's $100 and you get a 20% coupon on it, then when I purchase it, I get it for $80.
Correct?
And then I have to pay shipping and everything on top of that.
Correct?
Is from on your side, whatever the total ends up being that I actually get charged on my credit card, that's what you get billed your fees on. I mean, we all know this. So,
Correct.
all right. So then if
So-
you're in eBay jail, because I spent quite a few months there not too long ago. So it's 13.1% for clothing category plus the 35 cents per item for final value fee. Tack on an extra 10% for that. So it's not 10% of the $100 I sold, it's 10% of the fees. So if my fees
That's what I'm
ended up
trying to
being,
get at.
yeah, so if my fees ended up being
And that's not
$10,
true for promoted listings.
no,
That's what he's asking about, is the promoted listing rate.
the promoted listing is tacked onto the total, just
Yes.
like everything else.
So just for easy figuring, so let's just say your fees are 15%. And if I'm doing a 5% promoted listing, I'm now being charged at a 20% rate, or the 15% rate total, and then charge me
20.
then 5% on that. Okay, so 20%. Okay.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that's everything that you do, if you're not in eBay jail, right? So you're not,
Mhm.
your service metrics are good, then whatever your category fee is for final value fee is, you can pretty much just add your promoted listing percentage to that percentage. So if you're promoting at 7% and it's 13% for your final value fee, they're gonna take 20%.
Yep.
So
And unfortunately, Russell, that's not true, because my stuff never gets scanned ever, and I only do daily pickup. And I complained about it because found a thing in the USPS that says if you have one priority package, they're supposed to scan everything. But then they sent me a copy of their handbook that says for daily pickups, if that post office, basically they don't have to. I mean, that's what it came down to, that they only have to do five scans a day per
But
person.
if you know your mailman by name and you occasionally bribe him, I
You know, I
think,
give him gift cards and everything, and he hates coming here.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
I bribe mine, and ours has a policy: the drivers do not scan anything.
Yep.
They take
And they
it
can do
back
that.
to the post office, and there's a designated employee in the back that scans.
Yes,
But
that's
Wow.
what happens with mine.
One thing that shocked me, if you happen to have watched Tech's video about one after it was a morning call, so obviously I had to go back and rewatch it, but he was talking about his visit at eBay. And the
Mhm.
one thing that blew my mind is that when he sat there and talked to the people within the shipping department, that they had no idea that the whole scanning thing was an
Yep.
issue.
Yep. But like, so our carriers are not to scan anything either. And I do as much bribing as I can, but he's not going to sit there on his rural route where he's like, he does 5 towns, and scan 110 packages at my house. He's just not going to. And so their carriers don't scan anything either, but the post office, when it gets back to the back, scans 5. And they'll only scan 5 of my items. And I even went all the way to like the master person for my state, and they said, nope, our rural carriers, our pickup carriers do not have to scan anything. Because if they had to do it at every stop, they'd get behind their schedule or whatever. So yeah, it kind of sucks. I don't really know what to do about it, but I'll have to do like Larry does if I ever have any trouble.
Well, maybe you guys need to move out of the boonies. Because I'm telling you, I don't live in a great big city. I mean, we got 70,000 people lives in my city, but my post office, they won't even take it past the counter unless it's scanned.
Yeah, they won't either. If I took it into Kilduff, but it's open an hour and a half a day.
Yep. And then if I only have one or something, sometimes I'll just come back to the house and drop it in the mailbox, if I only have a couple, depending on what my schedule looks like that day. But my carrier, every one of them, even the temporaries or the fill-ins or substitutes, they scan it before they put it in the truck. And the reason they said that they do it is they're required to, because if their truck got in an accident, whatever, and my package got damaged, they're not responsible for it because officially they don't have it. And
Yeah, I asked about that because I agree with that. And I think Russell's got a great point on that. And ours said basically, policy, we don't have to, we're not doing it. So I tried. And I think it's just probably, like everybody in your area is probably trained the same way. They get a person training them to do it a certain way, they'll probably do it a certain way. And our people are more trained to don't do it. It's taking up too much time, and it's probably regional.
Isn't there a way that you personally can make a sheet to send out with your 100
count.
packages and it's a one scan?
I do. I give them a scan sheet every day, but it doesn't count for eBay.
Oh,
eBay doesn't recognize the scan sheet as an acceptable acceptance scan.
okay.
Yep, and they don't accept the kiosk scan either. The self kiosk, they don't accept that either. Go ahead, Meg. Meg had an example to show, and this would be good for new people here.
Yeah, let me pull it up. But it's a recent sale that had a sold on promotion and with the coupon, so then you can see the
this is probably a good learning tool for everybody.
Let's see.
And if you're not looking at your breakdowns, you need to be looking because it's you got to know.
Okay. Can you see it? It's like the screen with the okay.
Yep.
So it was a $26.99 sale. I charged $5.98 for shipping. There's sales tax from the state they're in, and then the discount is the coupon that I had up for 10%. So, but the thing to go farther into, so I got 1836 to my bank account, but the thing like you were asking to see or asking about, Devin, so if you click see more details, and then you scroll down and it gives you a breakdown better. So it's showing you like the shipping label, what you paid, and then like more so what you're asking, the promoted listings. So you could click view. And this is a way to check to see what promoted percentage it sold at too. So it shows it was at 10%. And it shows it was charged on the $32.77, which was the grand total of the sales price plus what they paid shipping and the tax they paid.
Yep.
A good thing I've been doing lately, you go on the app and choose where they show you how much you're going to have deposited, and then hit all activity. It'll show you a running total, which is really nice.
It is nice.
Get a good feel of what's coming out of your bank account.
Yeah. And then here it just showed the tops, that you get the little bit of a discount too on it for the fees. But
I because I'm going to go to 2-day handling for right when I have my surgery next week, because I don't know that I have great ambitions of everybody helping me quite like I want them to. So yeah, it's not a huge deal. People freak out about when they're not top rated seller plus if they have to move their handling for a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, look at those breakdowns. They're so handy. They're so good. So Sorry, I'm trying to text Rowdy, telling the dog needs out to go to the bathroom. And pay attention to those things. You know, that's your money. That's your livelihood right there. And I think sometimes we don't want to look at it because we just don't want to know, but we need to be knowing. So look at those breakdowns, see, like, and this is like all in jest, Julie, but like if you've been looking at all those breakdowns, you would have caught that sooner, right? You would have been like, whoa, what the world? Why are they taking all my money? You know, so it helps. And I've caught things too that I've done where I'm like, what am I doing? What is happening? And it's just, you know, we have a campaign running or something we forgot, and it happens. So, and you know, for the very first time the other day, I had PayPal take money out of my checking account for shipping. It's because when I was on vacation, I had that overlap where I had like $300 processing, but I hadn't been making the sales I'm used to. And you know, my shipping labels are like $100 a day, lots of times. So I saw a Facebook post. Somebody said, "Hey, PayPal's taking money out of my account for shipping. Like, what is happening?" And it's because, you know, I just didn't have enough available funds to cover my shipping label. So we have to be prepared for those things because, you know, I'm not used to it. And I was like, "Whoa, I'm gonna have the money taken out." So, yes, Russell, 1,000%. If you haven't done the 1 to 100 exercise, we should absolutely be doing it with different promoted listing rates. It is very eye-opening. I realize it seems redundant if you've been selling for a while, but it's not. If you've never done that exercise, plus there's something about taking a pen to paper and you're writing it down. Like if something sells for $10, and the way that 1 to 100 works is you can choose your price range. Like I probably wouldn't do anything for me under $10 because I'm never selling anything under $10, but whatever your lowest sales price would be, you write it out. And then you can choose different promoted listings. You go to the eBay fee calculator, you plug in all your numbers, and you can see, like, if I sell something at $10, it's promoted at 20% or whatever it is. Russell, don't put me on the spot. I'll have one ready for everybody, and then I'll show you how I got there. I can do that tomorrow when we do metrics. It'll fit right in with our metrics call. But it is very helpful. I think everybody should do it.
On the fees thing, I use it occasionally if I get somebody I'm sourcing from that is giving me pushback on my offer. Right.
Yep.
I recently bought some high-end camera equipment, and the lady was saying, well, you know, this should sell for around this much, therefore, you know, I got to leave something in there for you. And she came up with a number, and I said, let me explain to you the way that this works. And, you know, if I want it to sit for, you know, sell-through rate, and I try not to go too deep into all the technical details, but it's very eye-opening when they see that you're really only getting, you know, 40 to 70% of that actual sale price actually goes in your pocket. And then from there, you got to subtract out what you're going to be paying the person. And then
I don't do
look at
that
them
because
and
they don't care.
yeah, well,
The seller
but
said
it's
that to me,
easy
I'd
for
be
me.
like, I don't care.
Yeah, but then it becomes easy for me to say, so that price isn't going to work for me. Maybe, you know,
That's okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
yeah. Because
I do that.
if I bring it down and it's like, oh, well, would you work for $12 an hour? You know, because that's what, if
They
I
don't care.
dotted
They're
it
gonna
this,
say
that's what I
Walmart
do.
works for a nickel.
Yeah, well, kind of hard to pay
I
a
know we're not
mortgage.
Walmart. I get it. But just that's almost bordering on having emotions, Larry, about our sale. They don't care. We don't care.
Yeah.
Do it with yourself for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to know that, and that's good that you know that. For me, it's usually 42% on sales up to 80. That's pretty darn close, Russell. I think mine ranges from 34 to 41 usually when I do it, depending on the promoted listing.
If you guys want to do just a quick and dirty, see where you're at, so you can just get just a single number to work with instead of doing a whole bunch of exercises, which I still say you should do.
Mhm.
It's simple. Just go to your sales page on your listing on your eBay Seller Hub and do a sales report for this year and take the number that's in the blue box on the right and divide that by your total sales revenue, and it's going to give you a percentage. That's the
Mhm.
percentage that's going in your bank account after all your fees, after all your shipping labels, after everything. And if you sell the same basic items in the same pretty decent price range, it's going to give you a pretty good indication. That's why I said mine's 42%. So if I sell $100,000, 42% of that, or 42,000, is going in my bank, or is going to the eBay, and the rest of it goes to me.
And then we need to think about our cost of goods sold, but it does
Right.
make it a lot easier when you have that percentage in your head. I always think about 50%. I always think if I sell something for $50, I might see 25. When it's all said and done with cost of goods sold. That's just because and sometimes it's a lot more, sometimes it's less, just it's a nice even number for me to be able to compute in my head because I'm not amazing at math in my head.
Yeah, because
Um,
that's what I do. So when I'm sourcing, I pick up an item and I go, okay, this pair of whatever, it could sell for, $100. 58 goes in my pocket minus the $25 they want for it. That's how much then I know how much I'm gonna make or ballpark. And if it's at least double, then I'm probably gonna, most likely I'll pick it up. Obviously sell through rates, and there's other things that go into that, but just a quick and dirty instant,
mhm.
I can look at something and comp it and go $100 comps, $20 buy price. I'm gonna get 60 minus the 20, I'm at 40
Yep.
bucks profit, and it's a 1 year hold, probably not. It's a 5 month hold, yes, for me. So just those little things that as you get better and you start doing those exercises, you start seeing the numbers and how they flow together. It'll really make life a lot easier when you're in the field.
Yep, I totally agree.
And not only easier in the field, it'll make it to where we don't have those bad buys nearly as bad as we do now.
Yeah, you don't have shockers as much, right? Because you kind of got an idea. I think a lot of people, that I've helped and stuff really honestly think that they're keeping like 10% of the gross sale. That they're paying only like 10%. I mean, like, if you're not looking at your numbers, you're not paying attention to your numbers, it can get away from you really quick. And all of a sudden you're not really making money. And that's when people get into the churning money and not making any money. And it's even worse if you're not churning and you're like just not making it. That happens too. Russell, can you write down what you just said, where to do it? Yeah, see, look. Yeah, now you put yourself on the spot. Haha. When I was thinking about that, when I said I was a half glass, half empty girl for people that don't know me, my husband was calculating out a sheet buy yesterday and Rowdy was helping him and they were all doing all the numbers and because it's reselling too, really. I mean, the way we do it. And Rice says, "Are we going to ask mom?" And he goes, "No, because she's just going to say they're all going to die and we're going to lose all our money." Yep, that's pretty much how I feel about things. We're all just going to die, like, to lose all the money. So, they didn't ask me. I'll just lay them out. Nobody cares what I feel about it. But yeah, what else do we, I was helping some feedback yesterday in the group, and sometimes when we get a negative feedback, one thing, what should we do? What happens if you get a negative feedback, the very first thing I would say, don't hurry up and reply to the feedback. Once you reply to that feedback, I feel like eBay puts the brakes on, I don't know if there's some kind of rule on that, but once you reply to it, it's like you're almost stuck with it. So don't reply to it. Don't make any snarky messages to the buyer. Don't make any excuses for yourself. The less you can have a feeling about a negative feedback, the better. You can let it like secretly irritate you because, of course it does. I mean, that's just human nature. It irritates me too. But just try to cool off, don't reply, and then use the feedback removal tool. And basically, we need to be able to quote eBay's policy back to them whenever possible. I would highly recommend, especially if you're new, if you get a negative feedback. I realize sometimes you're embarrassed about it. The best thing you can do is to come into this call and say, "Look, this happened. This is where I'm at with it. Can you help me?" Because a lot of us have been there. A lot of us have been there, done that. And a lot of us know the eBay policies to help you. So that's a big reminder for everybody. Like, I realize it's kind of embarrassing, but it's more embarrassing having it up there for the world to see forever. So come here, we will help you. And is it Raina? Is that how I say your name? I don't want to mispronounce your name all the time. Yes. Um, were you ready for us to do a review of your store or a listing? She'd asked me yesterday. Yes, absolutely, Harry. So I had that embarrassing moment. So if you hit the request eBay revision, the revision of feedback button, that goes to the customer. So if you write a big paragraph about how your customer sucks and they were wrong and they lied, blah, 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 that's going right to the customer and eBay never even sees it. I didn't know that, you know, it was like right when I started and it didn't go very well for me. So just realize if you hit the revision request, it goes to the customer. Yeah. I've had a couple people have those oopsies. So did you have were you sorry, I wasn't looking at you. I got refocused. Were you ready for that, or do you want to come on a different day and do that, Rena?
Sure.
I'm
There you go.
ready. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the button. I
You're
have one
fine.
question.
Yeah.
How do you encourage your buyers to leave you a feedback?
I don't. I have a let sleeping dogs lie policy. If they don't give me any feedback, that's better than me poking them and then them giving me a bad one. And eBay
Makes sense.
pokes them enough. Like as a buyer on eBay, I wish they would lay off of that. Like I feel because eBay sends me like a million emails saying, "Hey, leave feedback for this. Hey, I want you to leave feedback for this." And I think they could just chill out. Like I just let them ride. Like they don't want to leave me a feedback. I'm cool, you know. So I get when you're new that we really want them to leave feedback because we need to build up feedback. One thing you can do if you're new and you have no feedback, because it is hard getting that first set, is to buy things on eBay. Make your supply purchases on eBay, make different purchases that you need on eBay, and then you will get feedback as a buyer. And when people are just scrolling and looking at feedback, it looks the same.
Oh.
So I think that helps. Maybe I shouldn't tell people that. Maybe that's kind of, I think it's fine. Like, I mean, I think then you get positive feedback as a buyer and that helps your number go up.
No.
See, I don't, Lisa, because I mean, I don't want to ask for feedback. Like, I don't know. I feel like if we keep asking them about, but I agree, you have to make that decision for yourself. But I don't, I'm cool. Just,
Yeah, I have a label that stick to all my packages that says please leave positive feedback. I have it highlighted, and then I have a coupon code on there for 25% off or something. So I haven't had a negative reaction to that. So
maybe
yeah.
some of it's a volume thing. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, if you're sending out
Yeah,
tons and tons and tons, like I feel it, I don't know. I just let it go. I
yeah,
used to do that, or I used to have a little blip at the bottom because I used to see other sellers do it that would say, if you have any issues with it, please reach out to me first. But now
yeah.
I don't know, Tech did a video on this, like why we shouldn't do that. And I can't remember what he said, not to say that it means it had to be true. It just, I mean, it really rang with me where I'm like, oh, I kind of get where he's going with that. But I think when you're new, also, it's just harder to be patient. I know I wasn't very patient waiting for that because you feel like people are, yeah, I don't like that blip either, Meg, and I don't really know why. I asked for a follow, absolutely. Ask for a follow. I don't ask for feedback, but I ask for a follow too, Carrie. Let me see what your store is. Oh, I can't minimize. I just have to go straight to share. I don't know what I have open, hard sale. All right. Do you have a store name you want me to search by? Nope. Take yourself off mute, dear.
Again.
No, I do it too.
The royalty stop.
Rail, R-A-I-L.
Royalty.
Oops, sorry. Stop.
Uh-huh.
All right. So are you sure that that's what sometimes it does it by username.
Oh, well.
Or did I spell it wrong? It looks all right. The royalty stop. Or is it shop?
Stop.
S-T-O-P? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't pull up your store.
It's THEROYALTY STOP.
Yep. No store. Sometimes it does it by username, and I don't really know why I don't know. We have trouble with that sometimes.
You just put it in the chat
Okay.
for you. I found it on
Raina-
Google.
Hey, look,
Raina-
Meg saving the day here. We're great.
Oh, okay.
There you are. Look at you. You got your brand new store. And everybody knows what I'm going to say right off because they all know me. So here we are. Are these stock photos?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, don't do that. You got to take your own photos of your own product. You'll get in trouble. Don't do that. So,
Okay.
personally, I would take those down until you fix it. They've been hitting stock photos pretty hard on eBay lately.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah. Plus, people can't see what they're really getting, right? So that's not the actual item you're sending them.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have pictures of the actual item you're sending them. So anything that we have that is stock photos, personally, I would take them down.
Okay.
But that's, you're new, you're just learning. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also funny about new items. People fight with me a lot about this. Like I don't know if this brand is big on doing zeros, but any new item we list on eBay, if we list it as new, they can come and, if we're not an authorized dealer, they can get us on it. So I don't know about this brand. I don't know anything about that brand. Just be careful with new products, because they get kind of eBay, or well, it's the companies that get touchy about it. Um, so you've sold 4 items and you have, how many items do we have? 52. So you're just getting started, which is just fine. And do we
Mm-hmm.
have feedback? And we have 4 great feedback. So awesome. And so this is the most recent one. These you must have sold a while ago because those are older.
I think they're from purchasing.
Oh, from being a buyer. Okay. But you see
Yes.
how that looks good, right? It looks good when we buy and we get feedback.
Uh-huh.
So are all of these stock photos or are you taking pictures of some things?
I took
Like this?
pictures. Those
Yeah,
are
like this
pictures.
this you took, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you using a
It's just that
background
I'm
removal?
using the background. I'm using the AI feature of eBay of removing the background.
Everybody has a different opinion on that. I don't like background removal, but lots of people use it. Lots of people love it. Yes, Harry, I agree with you. I just would rather have you throw up some white cardboard or something and just take the picture and then you don't have to move the back. It takes a lot of time. You'll get there, but like even here, you had it on a white background, I see, or did you use AI for that?
No,
Is that your background?
that's my background.
See, that's okay. That looks great. And then you didn't have to mess with taking the background out, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think it looks fine. What Harry said is completely correct. We don't want to put new as the first word. We want to put the brand usually if it's good brand. Like here, you did that. Here's the brand and what it is. Don't put don't put new first because they're gonna search Disney parks possibly. They're not gonna search new.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. I agree with Russell. Just like right here, these look great. The ones that you took on a regular background, that looks fine. It's a nice neutral background. The white gray looks good. Let's go into, I'm trying to find something I know something about or that one of us sells that we can help you with the best. And I'm trying to read the chat at the same time.
I
Put the
would,
item at the beginning of the title. Yep. That's what
yeah,
we just, yep.
your titles are probably what's holding a lot of that back. Like if you go back up just a little bit, Carrie.
Yep.
That right there, that keychain thing. Fluffy. I would never
Correct.
use Fluffy.
Nope, I wouldn't either. So the
Somebody-
very first thing, if I'm searching for this and I'm saying it out loud, like that's something I want everybody to be doing, seasoned sellers or not, say it out loud, say your title out loud. But what are you typing in if you are searching for this?
Keychain.
Yep, keychain.
Yep. And you could even get away with cat keychain.
Yep.
Maybe not black cat keychain right off because then you're only going to get people looking for a black cat. I want everybody that's looking for a cat keychain to see this and see how cute it is. So I would start it off probably with cat keychain and then maybe black.
And can I ask another,
Yeah, absolutely.
is that a cat or a rabbit?
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's a rabbit. I think it's a rabbit.
Oh, no, you see that. Yeah, I guess it is.
Those are some awful long ears.
A lucky rabbit. Lucky
Lucky
rabbit
rabbit.
keychain.
Yep, I think so too.
Yeah.
And then like keyring, is keyring all one word or is keyring 2 words?
In that case, I think it's all one.
I didn't know. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
cat,
think
keychain, black, fluffy. Yep, that's
nailed it.
what mine would be too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about explaining it or titling it all, and this is not just for you, this is for everybody. Title it as you would search it yourself.
Hmm.
I mean, fluffy, cute black keychain, a black cat keychain, that sounds adorable. But if
Mhm.
you were gonna look for one yourself, is that how you would search it?
Maybe not.
The answer is probably a no.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And like these, I think from what I hear, these actually sell pretty good. So people aren't going to type in to search for this 2-pack. So your first 5 words of your title are really important. So if I'm looking for this, I'm going to probably type in Yankee candle wax melt. That's probably what I would do. So then you could put 2-pack after that, or 2-pack after the Snow Globe Wonderland, because maybe they are searching the name. But I want everybody looking for Yankee candle wax melts to see my listing. So I'm going to put Yankee candle wax melt. Then I'm going to put like Snow Globe Wonderland, and then probably 2-pack singles or something. Those first 5 words, I want Yankee candle wax melt for sure.
Makes
Anybody
sense.
disagree with that? Harry
Yes,
says Yankee candle wax melt Snow Globe lot of 2. Yep, that's great. I agree with that.
okay. Makes
If
sense.
you fix your titles, you're going to see, I think that's going to help a lot. I think, it's just, but it's one of those things that like probably feels like we're tearing you apart. Nope, we all started here. Every single one of us. I wish I had somebody to have gone through my stuff when I started.
I coach people and I still have bad titles. So
Mm.
don't beat yourself up. Just know that's a little bit of work we got to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for sure. It's just
Yeah.
part of the deal. What do you guys feel like with these creams and stuff on the ones that are listed as new? Is that an issue? I feel like it could be an issue, and I don't want her to like have an issue right out the gate.
I feel like I heard the dermatological, or however you say it, had something before, but I just did a quick Google and I don't see anything about it, and I don't see anything about it in therapy, but
Okay.
I don't know. Just in general health and beauty stuff, like it has I feel like a higher percentage likelihood that they'll zero you and take your listings down and could cause you a problem. So just at least do like a quick Google search. You type in like dermatological eBay Vero violation, or eBay Vero, or eBay counterfeit, because I got one for counterfeit and it wasn't. So
Yeah, because to them it is counterfeit if you're not authorized dealer.
yeah.
So
Yep.
Meg could put up something that's completely authentic. She bought it from the store. She knows that it's real. She knows it's good, and you'll get a counterfeit violation from the company because of the fact that you aren't an authorized dealer to sell new items.
Yep. Don't list Urban Decay and don't list Morph for
There's a
eyeshadow
lot of
stuff.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And like,
Good.
I'm not sure about Disney. I feel like Disney new items is a problem, but I don't remember for sure.
Snap-on tools is a huge one.
Huge, yeah. Code Knives will sue you.
And anything that says Taylor Swift, whether it's new or used, doesn't matter.
They'll come after you.
You know, there's a lot of people that resell cosmetics, and obviously you can't sell that as used.
Yep.
How do they get around that?
They don't
Well,
sell those
Devin, if we want to roll the dice, we can roll the dice, but I don't want to roll the dice. So
The other
I mean,
thing
I'm not trying to open up a L'Oreal store anytime soon. I was just curious because I see it, online.
yep, some people you get away with it, some you don't.
I had some used or brand new in the box Snap-on stuff, and what I did was I sold it as used, but in the photos I made it very obvious that it was new.
Yep.
But that was a risk. I mean, but I had
That is
these.
a risk. And why is that a risk? That's a risk because for one, I would have done the same thing, Larry. So this isn't, I would have taken that risk. So
Yeah.
I would have.
I wasn't selling a pallet of it though. I just
Right.
wanted to get my little bit of money back.
Yeah, so I would have done the same thing Larry did. So we take calculated risks sometimes, but it's my job for you to know that you're taking a risk. Part of it is because Larry was also selling something that was new and he was showing that it was new, but he was listing it as used. So if some jerk wanted to come along and say, hey, he's advertising this as used, but it's new and he's showing that it's new, then you have like I can't remember what they call it. It's like when your listing isn't correct under the right thing. But I would have taken that risk too, Larry. So like this here, people probably aren't searching world's smallest, but they're probably but we want to hit monopoly levers. Right? So we want Monopoly to be at the beginning because people are going to search for Monopoly game and then it might be like, wow, I didn't know they made little small Monopoly games.
Yeah, that's a line of miniatures. It's a collectible thing. It's called the brand is Small World or something like that. So when
Right.
I searched, and when I saw the other sellers, they were using like those keywords. That's why I repeat them.
And
Well,
you know, you can do your own research and stuff like that too. I totally get that. I'm going to leave you the hands of Russell because I got a appointment I always have to be at 9. But you're in good hands, and I will just make him host, and I bet he'll continue to help you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
the only other thing I see that could be a quick, easy fix is the way you have your titles, not just structured, but the way you have them typed. If you look at that med line, I know Carrie's getting ready to bounce and we're gonna lose this page.